greatest love story ever told.
Romeo!
Sweet Juliet!
Was missing a chapter. Mine.
Son of a...
Well, I'm thinking maybe Rosaline just sounded better on paper. It is a throwback to the kind of 80s and 90s high concept comedies involving teens taking on classic material and contemporizing it. That's basically what the book, which was called When You Were Mine, written by Rebecca Searle, did. She took the idea of Romeo and Juliet and contemporized it, brought into current times, and focused on the character of Rosaline, who was, what if Romeo had an ex? And that is exactly who Rosaline is. Screenwriters Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber decided, we really like the concept, but we want to put it back when Romeo and Juliet was set by Shakespeare. Right back in those times, go to Italy, go to Tuscany, shoot it like it really is Romeo and Juliet, but with a contemporary twist.
So you're gonna break them up?
Of course I am. Romeo and Juliet. Doesn't even sound right.
I wanted to really like this movie because I do think there is a place for these kind of high concept comedies still, but they seem to be relegated to streaming, and that unfortunately is where Rosaline is headed, to Hulu, even though the 20th Century Studios film is, designed for theaters, I believe, originally, but with the whole acquisition by Disney of 20th and the need for product for Hulu and Disney Plus in various parts of the world. This will be on Hulu in the US, on Disney Plus in many other countries, on something else in Latin America, the way of the world, folks. Nevertheless, it's got Kaitlyn Dever, and you can never go wrong with Kaitlyn Dever. Though she's not known for her comedic chops, she may be, after this 1-2 punch she has this fall, because a week after Rosaline makes its debut on Hulu, she'll be seen as the daughter of George Clooney and Julia Roberts in that romantic comedy, Ticket to Paradise. Rosaline is anything but a ticket to paradise for this character, though. She's her own person, a woman of the world, basically here, a feminist at heart, who really takes no guff, has gotten involved with this guy named Romeo, played here by Kyle Allen. And he really is a doofus, a dim-witted guy who basically can only speak, though, in Shakespeare's sonnets and beautiful prose and say those loving things that he said to Rosaline. And then she catches him saying it to what turns out to be her cousin, her younger cousin, Juliet, played here nicely, I thought, by Isabella Merced.
I'm going to fake my own death. I'll drink this potion. It'll look like I'm dead. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Did you drink it already?
Oh, Juliet!
She suddenly becomes insanely jealous when she sees that she sort of put off Romeo, sort of dumped him without meaning to do it in that kind of a manner, thinking maybe he'll always be there for her. But that ain't the case, and so with the encouragement of her nurse, played here by Minnie Driver, she does scheme to get Romeo back in her claws here. But Isabella has fallen madly in love, and Romeo thinks this is the real deal. Folks, it may not be, but nevertheless, you got to go along with it. This movie follows the various beats of Shakespeare's text, but it expands it more, and there is all kinds of complications with the parents, of course. Adrian Capulet, who is Rosaline's father, is played by Bradley Whitford. He wants her to hook up with this guy Dario, who was nowhere in the original Romeo and Juliet, but he comes into the picture here, and he is played by Sean Teal, and he is the hunk of the movie, the heartthrob that the father thinks that Rosaline might appreciate, but they are at odds right from the beginning, and you know exactly where this opposites attract thing is going to go. But we've got to go through, as I say, all the beats here. Spencer Stevenson plays Paris, the very effeminate and gay best friend of Rosaline, who she convinces him to go straight, as it were, for a while, to bring back Juliet and sweep her off her feet so that she'll forget about Romeo. And so there's your complications. Throw it in for a few scenes for laughs, but struggling too hard to get them, I think, is Nico Haraga, a kind of stupid character, Steve the Courier. He delivers the mail around there. We also have Lord Capulet, Juliet's father, played by Christopher McDonald, and Lady Capulet by Mercedes Colin. They're all fine. Everyone's fine. Karen Maine directs this, and she's bringing a female touch to a script that was written by men based on a book by a woman. Somewhere something got lost in translation. I didn't really laugh out loud much in this. I wanted to like this movie. I think it is completely forgettable. Literally, it is so slight and, you know, by the numbers in terms of where you think this kind of comedy is going to go. You're just waiting for certain characters to get together, waiting for other characters to find out maybe it's not true love after all, despite that wonderful dialogue provided by none other than William Shakespeare, but only for Romeo. That is a funny conceit in this movie, that everybody talks in contemporary voices except Romeo, who's stuck there with the Shakespeare of it all. Anyway, movies like Clueless, 10 Things I Hate About You, much better in this. Both of them took a contemporary stance, and that, as I said, is what the original book did here. Perhaps they should have left it alone. For Rosaline, I say no.